work on that today.
Wait, which computer? Wait, I can't tell which one. Oh, I'm here. Oh, we're live. Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome to Simply Jordan Mornings. I'm Jordan Von Haslow. I'm here with my buddy, Carl Ritchie, who just made himself some. Wait, what did you make?
I made scrambled eggs with fish, avocado, and some salt and pepper.
What kind of fish?
Cod. I don't know, actually. I don't know.
There's just
Maybe
fish in your refrigerator. Like,
it was whatever I got from the river.
oh, like,
Literally.
That's so exciting. Do you know, I've only gone fishing one time in my life, and I was thinking about this because, so we used to have, when I was in elementary school, so this, I was like maybe third grade, we used to have like, you know, like they do like a fundraiser and like a big whole like thing, and like we had raffles, and one of the raffles was Mr. Phillips, our principal, would take you fishing. So my friend Zenas, who lived across the street from me, he won it, and he was taking his friend Kunal, but for whatever reason Kunal didn't come to school that day. And so they were like, well, who would you like to take with you? And he was like, you know, point it to me. And so they called my mother and, you know, got her permission, and we all went fishing. But I was thinking, like, that would never happen today. Some 50-something-year-old man alone on a river in the forest with like two.
That's what I was thinking.
But that was that would never happen today. But that was the one time that I went fishing. I've never been fishing again. You got to take me fishing, because I remember it was, well, but I remember it being kind of boring too, because we're just like sitting there, and also I thought that the worms were gross. So I remember like letting a lot of them drop into the water, because it was like, you know, I tried to like put it on the hook, but then they'd start squirming, and I'd be like, ew, that's gross.
Maybe fishing's not for you.
Well, no, I don't mind the fishing part. It's the worming. So you can do the worm part.
I'll do the worm.
And I'll be like this.
Yeah, I haven't gone fishing forever. But I used to do a lot of that in Vermont. I used to fish a lot.
Wait. So let's talk about this breakfast, though. Wait, you had fish. So wait, did you go out and like catch fish and then cook it up and then make your breakfast this morning?
No, I got it from the store. I could say I did that, though. I could say I did that. Freshly caught from Lake McBride and the E. coli infested swamp-ridden lake that's nearby.
So what's in Iowa City? Like, is there a lake? Is there a river? Is there a, like, where would you go fishing in Iowa City?
You've got the river right next there that's right on the university. That's like right on the outskirts of it, I suppose. That doesn't divide Iowa City, but there's like all the houses are on one side of the river, and the main city's on the other side.
Got it. Okay, I got so many questions. All right, so first of all, what's the name of the river?
I don't know, actually.
You don't know the name? You grew up in Iowa City?
Yeah.
The river that goes through the town, that cuts the town in half?
I didn't need to know geography.
What?
I didn't need to know geography. That's why I got my phone.
Oh my God. Do you know the name of the river on the west side of Manhattan?
That'll be the Hudson.
Are you Googling it as you look at it?
No, I'm not Googling that. No, the Hudson.
You know on the east side of Manhattan?
New Jersey. It's on the same side.
No, that's the west side is where New Jersey is. The one that separates Manhattan from Queens and Brooklyn. Do you know the name of that river? It's on the east side.
The East River. It's the East River.
Yes, it's the East River. Oh my God, I can't. So this is the thing. So this is what I want to talk about. Actually, it's so funny that you say that, because so we were a little late starting today because I was having internet issues. Like, my internet kept going in and out, in and out, in and out. And so I called my internet provider, and they did the thing where they, like, you know, but what I realized is, like, oh my goodness, if my internet is not working, I can't do anything. Like, everything that I do, work wise, right? Like I work with I work, as a development producer for a company, and I, develop scripts from novels, and everything with the organization is online. Everything I do is online. And I was thinking about, like, God, how did this happen? Because I distinctly remember life before the internet, right? And I remember distinctly the day that I got internet. And I remember distinctly the day that I received my first dick pic, which is before you were born. And so I'm just kind of curious, because I remember life, and I can still function, right? Even without the internet, even though, like, there's a lot of stuff I can't do. I'm going to do, like, I have no foundation on, because I was dealing with the internet. But I remember distinctly functioning before the internet, and I know how to function without the internet. You know what I'm saying? I can figure out which way is north. I can figure out, all of these things. And so I'm curious, because we're from different generations. As someone who always just had the internet, could you function without the internet?
I can write cursive.
All the letters are just like certain words is like a party trick.
I think it's just going to be this good old C and maybe an O. That'll be fine. And maybe an L. That's about it, though. Maybe my name, if we're lucky.
But like, what do you like? Because I think about that. I'm sorry, but like, I look like shit. But I think about that though. Like, how do you, like, what happens if there's like a big, like, do you remember? You probably don't. You were probably really young, and you might have been on the right side of the country, so it didn't work. It happened for you. But there was a year that, like, literally the power grid went out on half the country. Like the entire eastern half of the country. I don't know if you remember that or not.
Like a solar flare?
It was, I know, it was like I guess the power grid, like, we've had the same power grid for like 60 years, and so, like, it just didn't work. And like everything, like, power just went out. Like, so for like 2 days there was no power in New York City. And actually the entire eastern half of the country would have sucked to be stuck on an elevator during that time. But it was so funny, because I remember in that moment that it happened, realizing like how reliant we are on electricity and technology, because you couldn't take money out of an ATM. Even if you, like, went to a bank or something, they couldn't do anything because everything's computerized. And then people really, like, took advantage of it. So you'd go into like a bodega and you'd be like, oh, I'd like water. And they'd say like $6, please. And it's like, really? Like, they really, and it's really kind of crazy how reliant we are on technology.
That's because they didn't have refrigeration in the bodega? Or like...
Well, there was no fridge, but unless they had
the cashier,
their own generator, like, there was no, like, literally,
wow,
from literally from like the Mississippi over, maybe not quite the Mississippi, but literally the whole eastern side of the country for 2 days had no power because the power grid went out. So you had no refrigeration, you had nothing.
Wow, no Uber,
and everyone no. But like, wow. I remember, like, everyone was like outside just hanging out. It was, luckily it was summertime, but like there was no air conditioning, there was no nothing. And everyone was just like outside hanging out because there was nothing to do. But it was like, oh my God. I'm sorry?
What was everyone saying on Twitter about this?
You motherfucker, there was no Twitter. What? Google it. Wait, Google it right now. What was when did this happen? I feel like this was like 2000. I wasn't married yet. I feel like this was 2004.
Okay.
No, I'm saying Google it right now. See when it happened. I feel like this was like 2004. Oh my God! But it was like cool, and it was sort of like it was an experience, sort of like
2003.
2003.
Yeah, the Northeast blackout of 2003, largest power outage in North American history, affecting 50 million people in the U.S. and Canada. Oh yeah, I remember this, down in Florida.
Do you really? Because you were like a baby back
It wasn't
then.
up there. It's like literally like in Canada and like in the Great Lakes area.
Wait, you were in Canada?
No. It's like
Are
that's
you
what it's saying
Canadian?
it
Are you a
was.
secret Canadian?
Yeah, actually. I've been illegally voting this whole time. ICE is at my door right now. His name is actually Rodrigo.
But it was really weird because it like when I think about it now, it reminds me of kind of like COVID. You know how COVID was like a weird time for people where like it was scary, but at the same time for a lot of people, it was actually a kind of a cool time in the sense of like just being like everyone was like just chill and like outside and like doing their thing. So yeah. Well, so could you survive without the internet?
I don't know about that. I don't know if I could like live without knowing about the next episode on Netflix or HBO or what else? I couldn't live without YouTube. Or I don't know. I mean, what would it be like? I mean,
you always had the like so when do you what's your first memory of the internet?
Of the internet. When did it first slip into my?
Did you just like start like did your parents put you in front of the internet to watch programming when you were like a little like toddler, or like or was there a time where like it was like, oh, I'm allowed to use the internet, or you know what I'm saying? Or
First time I remember using the internet was, I think, in Vermont. So this is about 2005. Because we didn't really just have any devices to really work on. We didn't like have any like laptops, so we didn't have a computer, I think, till 2005 or 2006. And I remember just trying to watch videos on YouTube and it taking like hours to download because we were out in the country. So we would just be outside doing other stuff while that video downloaded. And it would be some like goofy Lego animation that we'd want to watch. So that's my first memory of the internet. And maybe in 2000, I don't know when Netflix started, but like I don't think we even like got their orders in. We just got the regular internet platform of Netflix in probably 2000.
Well, when Netflix came out, there was no streaming. Netflix originally was you'd get they email you the DVD or email you. They'd mail you the DVD, you'd watch it and you'd put it back. And
that's my first time. And I remember playing on an iPhone for the first time, which would probably be like 2000, probably 9 or 8. And it was like very,
I remember the first time I ever saw an iPhone, I was in Provincetown. My ex-husband and I, we used to rent a house every July. And we were sitting at the Post Office Cabaret. And it was a show by John Holmes. You probably have no idea who John Holmes is.
Oh, yeah. John Holmes. No.
John Holmes.
I know that guy by heart.
The gay porn star who has a huge thing. And so he had his one-man show at the Post Office Cabaret. And we were sitting in front of John Waters. You know John Waters?
Yeah.
We were sitting in front of John Waters. And this guy next to us had just gotten the iPhone. The iPhone had just come out. And, you know, he was totally like trying to flex with it. And so we were all like, oh my God, you have an iPhone, da 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 da. But I remember that distinctly. That because there was John Holmes, John Waters, and
Roger Waters or John Waters?
I'm sorry?
Oh, John Waters? Roger Waters.
And the director.
John Waters, the director. Is he also like the flamboyant guy with like he wears a lot of different clothing? Yeah.
Ash.
He's on Bill Maher all the time.
Not all the time, but he's been on Bill Maher, yeah.
Yeah.
But like Hairspray, Serial Mom. Have you ever seen Serial Mom? We should do a that. That movie is so good. Pink Flamingos. God, this just goes to show you that no matter what you do in life, you'll ultimately be forgotten. You're like John who?
Oh, who was this drag queen that he always had on there?
Divine.
Define. She inspired the octopus from Little Mermaid. What's her name?
Yes, Ursula.
Ursula. Yeah, she was the original inspiration for that. I remember that. Damn. What else has he done here? It's a lot of Crybaby with Johnny Depp.
So good with Tracy Lords. She's a buddy. Tracy Lords and Johnny Depp.
Fine, filthy. It's a lot of Jackass #2. I don't know if he did that, but okay.
He might have been in it. Did you watch the show Jackass, or was that over by the time you were born?
It was going on while I was, like
being conceived.
Yeah, I remember it distinctly getting shot out, and then remembering as I getting shot out a bull in the television screen. I'm like, wow, it's Johnny Knoxville.
They're like the original like YouTubers, you know what I'm saying? Like when you think about like all the stuff that you see on like Facebook and Instagram, like the content, like they're like the original Johnny Knoxville and Steve-O and Bam. They're like the original content creators. Like they weren't doing story, they were just like, let's do something that's gonna be outrageous and film it and broadcast it.
And it just works. That's what I've been kind of noticing is that all these mediums have always existed, but it's just transforming as time progresses. It's a bit like, I think we Jackass has a lot of stuff where they're filming themselves doing stupid shit, and then, but now we just have Facebook and we've got Instagram, and people are still doing that. And
TikTok,
yeah,
and Snap. Okay, so I never got into. Are you on Snap? I never got it. I downloaded Snap, but I couldn't figure Snap out. Like I didn't understand how to use. I never figured out how to use Snap properly. Like I didn't understand. Like I get TikTok. I get what TikTok is. I get what Facebook is. I get what Instagram is. But Snap, I don't understand Snap.
That was the main way that we communicated, I think, at least for me, towards the end of high school, because I got my first iPhone when I was a junior, I think. I had a flip phone before that. And Snapchat was like, I think for people that really liked it, it's because the photos would disappear. And
do shit and then there's no evidence.
Like the dick pic can go, the tit pic or the dick pic, they'll go away immediately. But yeah, I'm not sure why we used it. We just used it. It wasn't like, it was just, yeah.
Is it still a thing? Like, do people still use Snap?
Yeah, I think I've got probably maybe 2 or 3 people that I talk with on it, and that's about it. But a lot of people will post their stories on there. And that's just the way that they continue doing it. It's a bit weird though when you get like someone in their late 30s or 40s on there, and they don't really, nobody like I know in that age bracket really uses it, and it's also kind of strange too, because I'm like, I don't think, why would you be using this app?
It's like why is your uncle at the party?
Yeah. It's a bit like we're going back into that fishing with the principal type of thing a little bit.
Like you shouldn't be here. There's something off about you being here. Something completely not right about you being here. I get it.
Yeah, exactly. But I tell you, like a lot of weird stuff goes on there because if you look on Snapchat, there's a section where you can get all these postings and like all these other stories that you can watch. And it's a lot like, People Magazine, or it's a lot of what are the hot trends with these celebrities or these things going on. It's a bit like the magazine stands they used to have, and like have all these paparazzi picture-esque images of what routine, skin care routines or what divorces are going on or what scandals are going on. That's where Snapchat actually has a little bit of a, I think, a hold or a grip on their audience right there.
That's interesting. So it sounds like I should probably be on Snapchat.
Yeah, yeah.
Like old and like I'll be the like creepy old guy who's saying, "Hey boys, you want to go fishing?"
Yeah. We can have your face superimposed and the big galoshes on.
Oh my God! Seriously, we gotta go fishing. Listen, we gotta go. I wonder, can you fish? Because you know, like there's a Lake Las Vegas. There's a lake just outside of that.
Really?
Yeah, and I wonder if you can fish there. Because if so, we maybe need to do a video to like just like do a day of like fishing. I think that'd be kind of like awesome sauce.
Like just film you out there for like a few minutes just doing that.
Because that was the fun part. I loved that, like the flicking. I could flick my ass off.
Yeah.
But then you just have to sit there and you have to be quiet because you're and so it's like I actually have a friend who lives in Vegas. She is a songwriter. She wrote a bunch of songs in the 90s that were hits. And she lives in Vegas now. And that's like her thing. She loves fishing. That's like where she... And so I get it like as a solitude thing because you're just like sitting and you're probably like thinking and meditating about your life and all of that. But it's just like like it just seems so boring after a while. Like
we had one viewer just
of like getting on someone's boat isn't like stopping and being quiet. You know? I don't know. Anywho, now I'm just like talking.
Stopping and being quiet. You had me at that. Yeah, I also found out what the name of that river was. It was the Iowa River.
It's really called the Iowa River.
Yeah. Like what else would you call it?
Like you
Why would you call it the Iowa River? I don't get it.
That is so lame. No, it's just like
my grandfather used to say Iowa stands for idiots out wandering around in the corn.
So do you know like the names of all the streets in your neighborhood, or do you just get around because you recognize landmarks?
I
like
just kind of follow the sun.
If they turned down the McDonald's, you like wouldn't be able to figure out how to get home.
Yeah, if they tore that down, we would have issues. Or the Dunkin', maybe, and the Starbucks. I probably couldn't manage. I'll probably have to go back to like following the sun, and navigating from there, and also following the Big Dipper. I think that's how I would get around.
Okay, can we talk about that? The Big Dipper. That's so weird that you bring that up. Because I never understood, like anytime like I would go to the planetarium when I was a kid and they talk about this is Orion, this is the Big Dipper, and they make it look like it's so obvious as to what it, you know, like what those stars, you know, and they draw the little line and be like, look, it's the Big Dipper. I've never been able to see any of that. How about you? None of it.
All the time.
It just looks like
a white dot. Manhattan. You got all that light. I said you're in Manhattan. You got all that light up there.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, even like when like they show, like if you're like watching it on like a television screen, I've never been able to like draw like, oh, looking at the placement of all these stars, that's the Big Dipper. That's the Little Dipper. That's Orion. Like I've never been able to see it. To me, it just looks like a bunch of white dots.
It's not. It doesn't look like a spoon to you at all.
No, and I don't understand how that happens. Like, does it look like it to you? I kind of feel like scientists, because I kind of feel like scientists a lot of times, you know, because like people are like really mean to nerds in school. I kind of feel like a lot of like scientists and things and people who were nerds in school kind of like came in cahoots with each other and were like, okay, you know what? We're going to tell all these people a bunch of bullshit and laugh at them because they're going to believe us. because they didn't pay attention in class. So like they're not gonna know whether we're telling the truth or not.
This will be like they're venting pig Latin or something like that. This is our secret code.
Exactly.
And yep.
Exactly. And I don't blame them.
That's the whole point of astronomy.
It's just to mess with people.
Yeah, pretty much. Just listen to Neil deGrasse Tyson. I think he was in an interview and he was saying, you know, like astronomers will say everything just as it is. It'll say like black hole or gas giant or everything. They just say what it is. And he's saying it's because in the medical field, everything's in Latin, and everything of every one of those Latin words has a specific meaning, and they're incredibly long. And so you have to know a whole language to do that. But when it comes to scientists, it's just literally like black and white. It's just literally there for you to see. The description is in the name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cellular phone.
Yes.
Dick.
Wi-Fi. What does Wi-Fi actually? Wireless internet.
Wireless. That's a really good question. You know, we're gonna Google this.
Yeah. You just slipped off the connection.
I took myself. Uh-oh, hold on.
There we go.
Oh, but now you're on the opposite side. I want to be on that side. God damn it. Hold on.
There we go.
There we go. No, I grabbed my computer and I accidentally took myself out of the screen when I did it. All right, so we're trying to find out what does Wi-Fi stand for?
Yes.
Okay. Wireless fidelity. But fidelity, that's weird. Oh, like, because it's like only wire. Okay, so it's wireless fidelity. That's actually would be a good name for like a movie.
Wireless fidelity. I could do that. I could star in that and make a whole like script out of that.
Oh, like hi-fi, like high fidelity, wireless fidelity. Oh.
Yeah, but for my generation, yeah. Wireless fidelity. We met on Tinder.
Tinder using wireless fidelity. That would be amazing. Okay, so listen, you have to say wireless fidelity 3 times today. That's a trick. That then it becomes a part of your vocabulary.
Am I on the wireless fidelity? What's your wireless fidelity?
Yes, that's it. What's your wireless fidelity login?
Somebody's asking for what the Wi-Fi. You mean your wireless fidelity?
Yeah.
Well, your wireless, yeah. This is
I think that's amazing. I think we need to make that a thing. You have to do it. You have to do it for Generation Alpha and whatever's going to be after Generation Alpha. You have to do it for future generations. Please, sir, what is your wireless fidelity password?
What is your wireless fidelity? Oh God, I'm looking at Instagram right now because I'm trying to find the Next to Midnight video that we did. And see
you said you guys were up until like you were filming until midnight?
Yeah.
Wait, so what were you filming exactly?
We were doing initially his latest song, Miss October, and that was we had the whole band. We did a rehearsal. We started at 3 and then we played until 6. My mom's car broke down, so I had to go help her out with that. Then I had to come back and so we recorded the song, and then we recorded a promotional video saying that we weren't going to be performing at the Front House Brewing, and that fell through, and that we're going to be doing it at this place called Punk in the Corn, which is going to be the first Iowa International Punk Festival. So it's going to be like 30 bands and everything. So we're just announcing that we're going to be in the lineup for that group. And so he's been basically
like a dirty website.
Porn in the Corn or
porn.com.
Porn in the Corn. Punk Porn in the Corn. So it's got 240
porn. Ooh, that could be like its own genre of pornography. Corn porn.
Let me just husk. Would you do like it husked or unhusked? Do you want to take all the fur off? How far up can you go on the stalk there? Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you with dirty jokes.
That's some porn right there. I'm gonna share this too. Share now. But yeah, so we got his whole band to film it, and then when we went to record the song and we looked at the back of the footage, the problem was you couldn't hear the vocals, and they were getting stampeded by the guitar and the drums, so you just couldn't hear it. So we had to just scrap that, and it was a shame because we had a lot. We spent, a few hours getting rehearsal, and then hours just.
Was this a video or was this like the recording?
It was a video.
Oh,
we had a recording, but we couldn't.
That's what we talk about when I was talking about when we were in Vegas. Like, you really do want to put, if you can, use like a 4-track or an 8-track, so every individual audio has its own track. So then you can.
That'll be my next thing that we have to do for the band, is we have to find an 8-track or something we can connect and have it recorded live, so I can have that next time.
And then you can be like, oh, we need to pump up the volume on the vocals, or
yeah.
Oh, we need to take the drums down a bit.
Yeah, exactly. So that'll be my next task for them. And
we'll talk after this, because I used to be a Sam Ash artist. I don't know if you know Sam Ash. They went out of business last year. They were like, Guitar Center.
Yeah.
They were the competitor to the Guitar Center.
Okay.
They were like a family-owned business, and they've been around forever. But I was the Sam Ash artist. Maybe we should look into becoming Guitar Center artists, because what was so great about when I was a Sam Ash artist, I got huge discounts on products, and it was like a sliding scale. Like, if it was between this much and this much, you got 20% off it. But if it was over this amount, you got 30%. You got blah, blah. But also, they also like lent me things. So like my first residency at the Tuscany, they lent us they gave us the keyboard. I mean, we had to return it once the residency ended.
Yeah.
We had to, but they lent us the keyboard. So maybe that's something to look into. Maybe becoming.
He works. Thaddeus works for the local Guitar Center, which is West Music, and so he gets discounts and rates for that. But I think he was talking about it because we were talking about how we're gonna manage this, because he was pretty forlorn at the music. Forlorn's not the right word, but he was disappointed really with how the video turned out on that, because we had spent such a long time. But we'll get that next time. And the hearse broke down, and the belt had issues.
You just got the hearse.
Yeah, so we're lucky.
It broke down in town, and not in the middle of some Nowherevilles, Illinois, when you guys were driving back. That would have really sucked.
In the middle of Hicktown with 2 other goths. 3 goths. Yeah, that would have gone well. I would have been there.
That's
why I had the Make America Great Again hat on right there. That was wild, because it broke down in, of all places, a hearse in the middle, right outside of a church. And the congregation, he was all dressed up in a jockstrap, in his hat, with his eyeliner. And it's sputtering out of control. The congregation comes out, and he's just walking around, oh, hey guys. And literally, he asks the priest to get it jumped.
That's so funny. What did the priest say?
He said, "Well,
rebuke you in the name."
Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly what happened there. So we couldn't take promotional shoots for the hearse, with the hearse, but it's becoming really popular already. People are wanting to take photos with it. So that's what's working for him, is he's getting his contact information out for next to midnight. Like he can give his card because it looks literally like Ghostbusters. And
he's like Angeline. Do you know Angeline from
no,
Los Angeles? They actually did a movie version of her in on Peacock. Angeline is this girl, this woman who's a weirdo, but she's like blonde and has big boobs, and she became famous.
Like Elvira.
Yeah. But she became famous simply because she bought billboards like in the 90s all over Los Angeles. And it was like Angeline. And so now you have like Angeline sightings, and she drives a pink Corvette, and she has vanity plates, and her name is the Vanity Angeline. And if you see her, she'll stop, and for $25, she'll take a selfie with you. But she doesn't show her face. She always has a fan that covers her face.
So we got to get you a fan then, and we can just drive you around and get a limo for you and just be like, hey, my name is
Jordan. Be like one of those big stretch limos from the 80s, you know, like
on Vegas, just like that, actually. That's the other thing we need to do is we need to get those Elvira, like we were talking about this last night. We want to get Thaddeus all in his getup, and we want to do a movie night for horror movies and just review those, like Dawn of the Dead, that whole series and how that evolved.
Just talks about him and is like, oh my God, kids, can you believe that blah, 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 blah. I'm telling you, Elvira, Svengoolie. Did I send you Svengoolie?
Ghoulie?
Svengoolie.
No.
Who I grew up with in Chicago. Like he did the same thing, but it was like on a local channel where just like, you know, he like had a character and he's like, yes, we're gonna talk about tonight's movie. Tonight we're going to watch blah 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 blah. You know.
And he talked just a bit like I can't think of anybody's name when I go further back. I want to say the guy that played Dracula, but he was in in Edward Scissorhands, the grandfather or the father of Edward Scissorhands.
Not Bela Lugosi. Not Bela Lugosi. He was after. He was like from the Thriller. He was like Darkness, Souls.
Nothing
God,
like
what
that.
the hell was his name? I know who you're talking about. Hold on, I gotta Google it. We're gonna Google it. We're gonna figure it out. His name was, oh God damn it, Vincent Price.
Vincent Price, that's it.
Yes, Vincent Price. Have you ever seen the movie Auntie Mame?
No, I have not.
Okay, never mind. But yeah, Vincent Price. But he was like that. Okay, Svengoolie. Google Svengoolie. Svengoolie. This is like if you grew up in Chicago, particularly like in the 90s, like you know Svengoolie. You didn't grow up in Chicago in the 90s, but I'm just showing you this is Svengoolie.
Yes.
This is what I'm saying, that this is totally what Thaddeus should be doing. And then he can show up at all the cons, horror cons, and like charge $50 for each autograph. And then he can like host things. I'm telling you, that's the ticket.
I'm looking right now. I'm communicating with your future collaborator right now over in New York. And I'm trying to talk to him, and he's like, he's asking what the budget is, and I'm saying $100.
Wait, who's my future collaborator? Is it that guy in the lawn chair with the beer?
No. Chris, who's the lawn chair? Where did you get that one from?
That picture with the guy behind me when he did the show at the garden. At the garden.
Yeah.
And I sent that to Sojourner, and she was like, "Oh yeah, that's the neighbor. He's a drunk."
He's our sponsor, actually. That was a wild time.
But you know, that would be like a total New York thing, right? That's the guy who actually is like a billionaire and is like the one who's like funding everything.
So I'm talking to the guy right now. He's asking what the budget is. How long would you want to film with him? Like for like 3-4 hours?
Wait, which dude is this? This is the dude for the PSA stuff?
For Simply Jordan to film all those viral content videos.
Oh yeah. Yes. No. I think we wouldn't even need 3. I think we would need like an hour, 2 hours. Like we just go in, boom, 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 knock it out. And that's what I'm saying. Just an hour. I say 2 hours
for $100.
But like literally just like boom, 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 knock it out.
1 hour, $100.
Yeah.
Maybe
say
2 hours.
Say 2 hours, $100. But we shouldn't be like broadcasting his salary. We are online. Like telling everyone how much he's earning.
We got our one viewer right there. It's saying, "Oh, he's gonna apply right now." He says, "Oh God, I'm out of a job right now." Oh man, definitely. That's all they're charging. Damn. So I just sent him that video, and then I got a Next to Midnight video right here. I don't know what. Oh, that's just the video that I got. Damn. So yeah, Elvira. Oh. Amazon. The Ghoulie. Svengoolie. Don't know what you're talking about, but okay.
He's amazing. Okay, hold on. No. Now we gotta do this because you gotta understand who Svengoolie is. You don't understand. Like this is if you grew up in Chicago when I grew up, Svengoolie is like amazing. There you go. Me TV, Svengoolie. Okay, hold on. We're gonna share the screen now. We have to because you're being disrespectful to Svengoolie, and that will not stand. All right, hold on. Present. Share screen. I know it's present, but I still like saying present. Okay. Chrome tab. We want Svengoolie.
Svetlana. Whatever I could, running on a dream. Oh, I see white background. Make it work. Make it work. Are you having trouble with your, what is it called? We're not calling it Wi-Fi connection. We're calling it
wireless
fidelity. Wireless fidelity. This
Okay,
looks like stuff out of What We Do in the Shadows, or that's like the creature from what do you call it?
And I was wondering, what do you do to stop him from climbing a?
It looks like the character from what?
What the heck is it called?
Well, Shadows, right?
No, Black. Yeah, What We Do in the Shadows, but the guy with ears is from that old horror movie from the like 1920s that they just.
Dracula.
Not Dracula.
No, that was Dracula.
No, it was. They just literally did a movie on it with Nicholas Hoult, where, frick, this is the thing about having so much internet connection is you're inundated with so much information that you lose it all so intensely. Nosferatu. Yeah.
I was like Dracula because it's a vampire. Nosferatu. Yeah. I don't know who that guy is, but this guy on the right, that's Svengoolie.
That's Svengoolie, okay.
I've been thinking about giant monsters, and you mentioned King Kong, the giant ape. And I always wonder, what do you do to stop him from climbing a building?
That's a great question. All you can really do, Svengoolie, is lay down on the sidewalk and make noises like a banana. Watch this.
Is that what a banana sounds like?
Yeah, like that.
I'm very impressed by that. And if you didn't deal with giant monsters and just regular sized ones, would that be just as big a thrill for you?
Well, yes and no.
No?
No and yes.
Okay.
And maybe so. Yes, no, maybe
I
so.
see. So if there's one regular sized monster
Yes.
that you'd like to see be giant size, what would that be?
Imagine if you win, Svengoolie, a 3,000-foot caterpillar.
Oh,
Wouldn't that be very scary?
well,
And they move very slow, but if it's bigger, it's already there, so you don't have to worry about how slow it's moving, you know.
doesn't the giant caterpillar then turn into like
A
Mothra?
giant butterfly or Mothra, yes.
See?
We've come full circle.
I'm amazed by
How
that.
about that?
I'm very surprised. Well, I know you probably got a lot of giant things to handle.
Giant monsters to handle.
All right. Well, I suppose I should let you go.
It's like I always say, Svengoolie.
What's that?
Scream work makes the dream work. Buddy kiss.
My God, that new TV.
I'm telling you, and I think that lives somewhere between Svengoolie and Elvira.
We can just do that. We can knock that out with him easily. It's just about timing.
And then you put it on your public access channel and the local public access. I'm telling you, like that's the play.
Svengoolie. Let me send that. Can you send that video to me? And
Yeah.
I can send that to him, and then I'm saying like, let's just show up one day, because so far like the weekends are the ones that work, but even then weekends are shoddy. I'm beginning to think that our one viewer is literally just stuck on there and he forgot to close his tab. He has not left this whole time. And I know we're very entertaining, but I don't know if we're that entertaining. Our one follower.
Oh my goodness.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
I love filming that stuff.
Well, we have like I don't want to go. We have like maybe 14 more minutes. There was some other things that you wanted to chat about.
Yeah, the one was Amazon Prime's new James Bond video game, and also the fact that they are taking on the whole Bond series. Because you and I would love James Bond. We love.
And when I found out that the Broccoli's sold James Bond to Jeff Bezos, I was a little heartbroken because because they've always like treated James Bond with such care. And what I know for sure, right, having worked in the studio system, having worked for media conglomerates, now that Amazon owns them, it's sort of like when what's his face sold Star Wars to Disney.
Yeah,
George Lucas sold Star, because now it's just going to be like, how can we exploit this IP in as many ways as possible? We're going to have video games, we're going to have bed sheets, we're going to have, you know what I mean? And it makes me so sad because it's such a wonderfully curated piece of IP, and now it's going to be like, we're going to have origin story movie, TV shows. We're going to have Moneypenny, the TV show. We're going to have, you know what I'm saying? Like it makes me sad.
It's going to get really exploited after this. Moneypenny, Agent Moneypenny.
Yeah, like it just makes me sad because it's nothing sacred.
At this point, I'm disappointed with Star Wars and everything. Everything after the prequels, I just don't thoroughly enjoy.
No one does, because it's owned by so they're just like, let's not, and that's what's about to happen to.
They're gonna pump this into and something that's supposedly been aged very fine is gonna just be totally kiddified, childified, and
there might even be a James Bond cartoon that comes out. Like, do you know what I mean? Like all of it.
Damn it. That'd be. I hope they make it very graphic. They'd have to make it very graphic cartoon. Like they need to make it Archer quality, kind of. Archer, perverted Archer.
I'm totally children's cartoon out of it.
That's what I think they originally wanted it to be, was a comic strip. If it wasn't going to be a movie series, then James Bond would have been a comic strip.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Or at the very least, a television series. But
interesting. Who's your Bond? Who's your favorite Bond?
Daniel Craig. It's got to be Daniel Craig. I think Sean Connery.
I have all of Daniel Craig posters because I worked at Sony during his era, so I have all.
Really?
I have all the Daniel Craig Bond posters.
What's your favorite one? Your favorite Daniel Craig movie?
Casino Royale.
Yes.
I love Casino. Like that's one of those we were talking yesterday. Like how there's certain movies that if it just like turn on the TV and it's on.
Yeah.
I will always watch Casino Royale. In fact, I might watch Casino Royale after we stop.
I think so too. Yeah, I need to have a moment with that. It's just Vespa is probably the best Bond girl. And obviously, I think that Lashif plays a very, a very real type of villain. For once, I mean, the only thing he's got is his bloody eye.
Mm-hmm.
It's not too over the top or anything like that. And I mean, it's one of those typical post 9/11 movies, realism movies. Before that was Pierce Brosnan, where
he wasn't. I didn't really dig him honestly as Bond.
He was like the comic. Yeah, I think Goldeneye was his one good one that I enjoyed.
My favorite Bond has always been Roger Moore.
Roger Moore, yeah.
I think because he's so cheeky and he's so fun. But I kind of think, so your favorite Bond is Daniel Craig. I kind of think that everyone's favorite Bond is the Bond that pulled them into, that pulled them into the series. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was a little kid, Roger Moore was the Bond, and I loved watching those movies when I was a little kid. And so I think, and it's probably the same with you, with Daniel Craig. Like that was your first Bond, and I think everyone falls in love with their first Bond.
Yeah, 100%. Like I'd say, well, Roger also was very classy. He wasn't too intense, or as I think the least misogynistic compared to Sean Connery. And he was a lot more graceful. He wasn't so intense. He was a lot more gentlemanly, and I think that's what led to a little bit more of his appeal. He definitely had his moments. Like you can't get over like a lot of what the script had in there, and you have to remember, like he is like a quintessential British man. He's gonna see,
but he's like suave, and maybe that's maybe you just called it out. He and Daniel Craig are British. Everyone else is Scottish,
Irish, Australian.
Do you know what I'm saying? And like there's like a
Timothy. What was he though? Was he English?
Timothy Dalton.
Yeah.
Or Timothy Dalton doing? Yeah.
He's English.
I think he was British.
Yeah.
British. Let's find out. I think he was British, but they're the ones. So it just goes to show you, it goes to show you that like nationality does matter in terms of just what you bring to something, right?
Yeah. So I'm almost like, is Amazon Prime gonna bring on an American now this time?
No, that would be Timothy Dalton's British.
Timothy Dalton's British.
So old now. He used to be so handsome. He's 79 years old.
Yeah. I remember when Prince Charles came on the set of The Living Daylights, and I'm thinking those guys are the same age right now. So they're to the same age. And I was also like, these guys actually look alike too. They got the same hair and everything. That they're almost about the same height, I think, too.
In some way.
Yeah.
British are all inbred.
that's another thing is that the James Bond has the close ties to like the royal family now. It's just as popular and it's just as vital a piece of
like Britannia, like it's like
Britannia. Like you don't want to mess with that too, because it's it's part of that cultural brand right there. And I don't know, I was gonna say something right up there with Beefeater.
No, but it's the truth. It's the truth. It's a part of the culture. And that's, I think, partly what makes me sad that they sold it to Amazon, because it's not, there's not, so there's a pianist I know here in New York. His name is Ted Firth. And he plays for a lot of really great people. He plays for Marilyn May. He plays for a lot of really great people. And I remember having a coffee with him, and we were talking about a certain like cabaret and jazz and certain rooms, and we were talking about the Cafe Carlyle. I love the Cafe Carlyle. The Cafe Carlyle and the ideal of the Cafe Carlyle was what made me want to be a cabaret singer. And the Cafe Carlyle sits in the Carlyle Hotel, right? And we're living in this time where like all of these other venues that could make more money become Chase Banks, become Walgreens, and I remember him saying like, Cafe Carlyle will be the Cafe Carlyle as long as there's somebody there with the pull who cares about it. And the moment that that person's gone, the Cafe Carlyle is not going to exist anymore. And that's how I feel about
James Bond.
Yeah, being sold to Amazon.
It's being taken out of a family-owned business too.
Has enough pull who really cares about it, who's going to protect it. Because if there's nobody there, it's done.
Yeah, it's being taken out of that family business too right now, because I don't know why Barbara is just letting it go like that. I don't remember what her reasons were behind it. Does she have? I think she's got kids.
They didn't say anything, so maybe there's no one to take it, or maybe there's something, maybe she's, has cancer.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I feel like there has to be a reason. Or maybe it's just a cash out. Sort of like, think about all these musicians, right? Like the Bob Dylans of the world and stuff, who like sold their music catalogs over the last few years and like got like, $150 million for them. And I like, maybe it's just like, you know what? It's a cash grab. And this is what's going to, sustain my descendants more than this particular IP.
Mm-hmm. It's just a cash out.
I don't know. We should ask her. We should Google her.
I met her once.
Slide in her DMs. You met her?
Yeah, we were at the premiere. Not a premiere. We were at a screening, a BAFTA screening, for Emmett Till, the movie.
Oh, BAFTA. Said BAFTA.
Yeah.
It sounded like
I was in the bath with him.
She said a Baptist screening.
A Baptist screening.
I was like, what?
This child shall be named a Baptist.
But you were at a Baptist screening of what?
Till, for the Emmett Till movie.
Oh yeah.
And she was helping out with that, or she was producing that. And I just sort of brushed past her, I guess I should say. She was like at the doorway as I was trying to get out and everything like that.
I had that same experience with Caitlyn Jenner.
Caitlyn Jenner, really?
Mm-hmm. I went to,
Did you bump into her plastic surgery right there?
I'm on the board of a nonprofit in Los Angeles, and we used to bank at this particular bank, and our banker invited me to this gala, and it's the most LA I forget the name of the organization, but it's the most LA thing you've ever heard of. Basically, it's an organization of plastic surgeons. So women who are victims of domestic violence, the doctors give them free plastic surgery.
Oh, wow.
Isn't it the most LA thing? That's like the most, not therapy.
We'll get you more plastic so you can get more
you need to
domestic
fix your
violence.
face. Come on, let me help
We
you.
need to get you a real wife beater.
Oh my God. So Caitlyn Jenner was this particular year, she was the speaker.
Yeah.
And it was at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel. And so to get into the ballroom of the Beverly Wilshire, you have to walk down this like skinny hallway. And they had like the people there, the registration desk, you know, so you could like, oh, you're, and so you literally had to like walk like this to get past everybody to get into the main ballroom. And Caitlyn Jenner and I went back this. Can I tell you, Caitlyn Jenner is actually very attractive in person.
Wow.
Looks much better than she does on.
Probably she doesn't have all the makeup on or less makeup on it. It's less.
She did. But here's the thing that bothered me about her, because this is like not too long after she came out as transgender, and like really this is like in her first, like I don't even know if her TV show had come out yet. Like this is like when she first came out and like got her ESPY award as like female sportswoman of the year or whatever. The thing that I recognized was so interesting. Every time, like she was, you know, because she was there, like, you know, she gave her speech about the trans community, but everything she said was, she talked about the trans community in the third person. She was like, this community, blah, 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 blah. These women are, you know, 3 times as blah, 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 blah. These, and I thought that was really interesting since you're a part. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if I'm talking about Black people or if I'm talking about gay people, I'm not going to say, well, these people are blah, blah, blah. I would say like my community, my, you know, I that to me was very interesting, and I've never forgotten that.
So it's kind of like she's putting herself up, separating themselves from that community, not
and I thought that was really weird, considering the fact that your whole thing is that you're trying to be the spokesperson for this entire community. So I
like the best way I think that who phrased it with Caitlyn Jenner, or I think it was at the roasts, at one of the roasts, like with alcohol, something like that, when she says, like, you were a trailblazer for the trans community, for women around, and then you immediately shut that door.
But it's
like,
the truth.
It's
the truth. Like I don't know. I don't know. I've never forgotten that, because it really struck me, you know?
I'm almost taking it as this is what she feels comfortable, like this is her thing. She doesn't want to be part of the larger idea of it. Like, I'm doing this to make me feel comfortable. I'm doing this, or maybe even saying she's doing it for, like, I mean, she did work she's a part of the reality TV spectrum too. So it's all about viewership there. It's all about that.
That makes her a shit human being.
Yeah. So should we even be surprised that that's what she's doing too? I mean, like, I just
think that makes her a shit human being. Like it's, you know, like it's, and you did it, and now she's like, no one talks about her anymore. So it's like, it's that whole like,
no one's gonna remember. Why she changes back to a man?
What do they call it? Like, oh, who's to change back to a man? But it's like that whole like, when you do things, what is like when you're clout chasing. That only lasts for a certain period of time, you know what I mean? And then it's like over if there's nothing behind it. And I don't know.
The only other thing I wanted to talk to you about was the Nat King Cole and what got you onto that. And what was your inspiration behind doing the show?
Well, so in 2019, I was at a place where it's like, okay, I want to start performing again. What do I do? so I've always been about the Great American Songbook, right? Like what I like again from so what kind of started it was when I was in high school, and we always had a gala every year, and the day after the gala, so two things happened. Once I sang this song. I sang a song called "Night in Tunisia." This is on a Friday, and it's a jazz song. Moon above you, cold evening night. There's a night in Tunisia, never does it shine so bright. So the head of my music department, I was a music major, the head of the music department, who was a jazz singer herself, she called me on Saturday afternoon and said, "Oh my God, we've all been talking about you. You were so amazing yesterday. The way that you were turning phrases, the way that you were," she's like, "I think you found your thing." And at the same time, I was like really getting into the Great American Songbook. And I started working with the woman who was the head of the musical theater department, and who was a very big force in the theater and the cabaret community of Chicago. Her name was Patricia Rusk. She's no longer with us. She passed away a few years ago. And I started working with her. And I remember our first conversation, like our first meeting, I went to her house and we were like looking at music. And she's like, "What do you like to sing?" And I said, "Pop music, like I'm Debbie Gibson and this and blah, blah, blah." And then she's like, "Okay." And then I stopped and I was like, "Actually, no, what I've really been getting into is the Great American Songbook." And Pat goes, "Oh, we're going to have some fun." And so she introduced me to all of this music. And at the same time, there were two albums that came out around that same time that I really loved. One was the original cast album of Ain't Misbehavin', which was, all jazz. It was the music. It was it was a review of Fats Waller's album. But then also Natalie Cole did her album Unforgettable with Love, which was a tribute to her father. And so all of this music, particularly the Natalie Cole stuff, the Nat King Cole stuff, really, like, I was immersing myself in it at this time where I was really figuring myself out musically. So it all, it was all like a part of me. So 2019, I'm like, okay, I want to start performing again. I need to figure out what to do. How can I do a show that that I can sustain, right? It needs to be like, a songbook of somebody. It needs to be, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm not famous enough to like where people are just going to come see me and we're at a different time. 2019 happened to be Nat King Cole's 100th birthday. And so that was like, oh, so we're going to do a Nat King Cole centennial. And my friend Greg had just done a show at this little room on the Upper West Side that's no longer there, called the West End Lounge. West End Live and Lounge, I think it was called. And I saw like pictures of it. I'm like, oh my God, this is like the perfect size. And so I was like, hey, will you introduce me to the owner? And so he connected me with the owner, and I was like, hey, here's what I want to do, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, yeah, come on in. And then I reached out to Matt Baker, who's a pianist here in New York. He's actually Australian. I first worked with him back in 2002. I met him when he's Australian. He lived in Sydney. And I met him when I first went out for the Sydney Cabaret Convention. I was like, this guy is really talented. I want to work with him. And so I went back the next year to Australia and I recorded my album, which you can find. It's called This Could Be the Start of Something. At the time, my stage name was KJ. So if you go to like Spotify or whatever, Apple Music, KJ, This Could Be the Start of Something, you can find that album. But he lived in New York now. And I was like, hey, you remember me? And he was like, oh yeah, oh my God. And I was like, here's what I'm doing. I want to do this, centennial show of Nat King Cole in a small room, and we just keep it running for as long as we can. And we did. And we kept it running for like 5 months until I booked my residency in Vegas, and then I had to shut it down because I had to go to Vegas, and I took Matt out to Vegas with me as my musical director.
Damn. So how did you guys go about like arranging all of that? What was the process of where did you narrow down the songs that you wanted to have? How did you come down to the standards and selections?
Well, that's like really that was really different, and I'm still thinking about it now because there's a lot of songs that we don't have in it that I would love to have in it. But the fact is, you have 60 minutes. Like in Vegas, we have a little longer. We have like an hour and 20 minutes. But what I did was just these are the songs that I love the most, right? These are the songs that have been a part of just my musical whatever for the last 15 years, 20 years. So these are the songs that I have to sing. And then it's like, and then it becomes like a, like a what's her name? It's just Sophie's Choice, where you just have to choose, okay, I love that. That's my baby. But guess what? You don't fit into this in this moment. These songs matter more. And then as far as the original production in 2019, there wasn't a huge process in terms of like orchestration because it was literally just piano and voice. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like we had to think about what's the bass going to do, what are the drums going to do, what are the horns going to do. It was just like literally I went to his apartment one day and we just went through all the songs and this is how we're going to sing it. This is going to be the form of the song. He wrote his notes and then we just did it.
Nice. And so what's the general message that you want to take away, that you want people to take away from the show? Because I know you want to almost relive the experiences you had listening to that music from Nat King Cole. And yeah.
Yeah, well, it's, first of all, this is some of the greatest music in the world. It really is. And what I'm also noticing, and I don't know if you've noticed this now that you've been a part of the show, and like going online or watching people perform, there isn't any day that somebody doesn't sing or play a song that Nat King Cole performed or introduced to the world. And so I think the takeaway, and what I want people to take away, and I said this in the show, and I was like he's probably the greatest Black entertainer in the world, but he's actually, if you really think, he's probably the greatest entertainer in the world. Like, if we were just to walk through, I mean, I know no one goes to shopping malls anymore, but if you and I were just like walking through a shopping mall for an hour, I guarantee you that at least 2 Nat King Cole songs would be played. Like,
It's kind of in their lexicon.
He's totally in our lexicon. And the fact that he was able to do that during the time period that he was able to do that says something. And the fact that he was able to do all of that, and I think about this now, being the age that I am, the fact that he was able to do all of that before he died at 45 years old is even more amazing, because 45 is not, I mean, I know you're in your 20s, like, seems like a long time, but it's really not a long time when you consider that you don't start to do shit until you're in your 20s. And so it's like within like basically a 20-year period, a 25-year period, he did more than most people could do in 2 lifetimes. I think that that's amazing. And like I said, walk around, just start noticing, because I see it all the time. Or like a commercial will come on, or a television show will come on, and be like, oh, that's a new, and it won't be him, right? It won't be like his recording, but it's like, oh, that's a Nat King Cole song. Oh, that's a Nat King Cole song. Like Nat King Cole, people always like treat like Michael Jackson was the greatest in the world. Michael Jackson has shit on Nat King Cole.
He's just like up there with Bach and Beethoven. The music is in there. You may not know who he is but you know it from his songs, and they've been immortalized in those pieces which he performed.
Mm-hmm.
especially like growing up in the time period that he did, when people were not like, the mass media was not looking to hire a Black musician to even get on the radio. Breaking into on the radio was, from my
Or
understanding,
even like higher, like you can't play here, or you can't play in this room, or you can't. Absolutely. You
like,
know,
with
I think about
holidays,
Vegas. You know, Vegas didn't get integrated until like the late 60s, early 70s. Like going into almost
wow.
like as a Black performer, I wouldn't be able, like I could play in the showroom, but I couldn't stay in the hotel. And this is almost like going into almost the 70s. Like I would have to stay on the west side of town in like a boarding house and drive in and play the whatchamacallit. Do you
Go
know?
stay at the small motel, basically. Go stay at the motel while, you know, let the white like backup band or the band.
Like my point is, like if this were 1965 and we were doing this show, you could stay at the Alexis Park.
Yeah.
But at the end of the show, like I wouldn't even be able to like hang out in the bar. I would have to leave out of the back door through the kitchen and go somewhere else. Whereas you and Joey Singer and Bram, you guys could sit in the bar and like hang out and have fun.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, that's not really a long time ago. That's not even 20 years before I was born. You know what I mean? Like my parents were born during that time. And you know what I mean? Like when you think about it and you think about it in those terms, it really makes everything that he accomplished all that more amazing.
He really defied the odds and defied everyone's expectations. And really, from what I'm watching with Black performers that do break in, I was also watching the Luther Vandross documentary, which we were talking about because you were interviewing
Maxine Jones from Envo.
Yeah. And to see any Black musician break into radio or any medium, to try to walk that line and almost appease the white producer or the audience to just sort of, you have to live in two worlds almost to sort of, because if it's in the Black community, they won't accept you if you're trying to appease the white community too much. But if it's, and I think in the white community, it's almost a bit too, they can't process it because it's two different cultures. So it doesn't break through. So it's almost like you have to walk on this fine line to almost attain the success. And the fact that Nat King Cole could do it puts him at the front of the line to just sort of like, it's PR. He is full on PR man. You have to, when you are in Rome, you are a Roman. It's that's kind of the general gist that I took of just how, you know, for people that don't understand how challenging it is, and also don't get a frame of reference of just how this was only a generation, 2 generations ago that this was happening. That if that puts it into any perspective, it's a recent thing, and that there is a real cultural like difference which doesn't resonate with people significantly because we choose to live in such secular thing, like out settings, I guess. But
no, 100%. And so I think you're 100% correct. And the thing is I think that like what really resonates with me is that like I, and this sounds corny to say, but like I stand on Nat King Cole's shoulders. Like Luther Vandross stood on Nat King Cole's shoulders. Marvin Gaye stood on Nat King Cole's shoulders. Sylvester stood on Nat King Cole's shoulders. Usher stands on Nat King Cole's shoulders. Like every Black male entertainer stands on the shoulders of that man. And that's it.
I wanted to give a picture there too, because I was before we got on here, I was watching a clip on a reel with Little Richard on there, and he said, look at y'all. You just came up here, and you all have not a Tony, a Grammy, but I don't have one, and you are all on my shoulders.
Exactly.
I am the founder of rock and roll. And
I'm the originator.
I'm
the architect. But you know what? Little Richard stood on Nat King Cole's shoulders. Nat King Cole made it okay and acceptable for Black men to be entertainers, and not in like a step and fetch it way, not in like he's had his tuxedo on, he was elegant, he was, you know what I'm saying, he made it okay. And so that's why I think that this is why I feel so, and it's so interesting that you asked me this, because I've never really thought about this. I'm kind of forming all of this now, but I think that that's why I do feel so passionate about this show, and I feel so passionate about who he was, because he truly made it okay for me to be raised in the suburbs and to go to art school and to, you know, walk into clubs and say, I'm a singer and I'm going to do this. And, you know, like it's, you know, you just don't realize how,
yeah.
You know, like, I don't know. Anyways, now I'm getting,
You're getting emotional about this. We're getting into the deep core of like how how it led up to your inspiration and enabling you as well.
Yeah, 100%. But we lost our one viewer. So
yeah. We're on such a good hot trail
day. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, this has been like an absolute blast, and I can't wait to do this again tomorrow. And little by little, I think that this is gonna work. It's gonna work. I don't know. Do you watch what's it called? The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Did you ever watch The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel?
No, I never got into it. Again, another Amazon Prime product.
Well, there's a scene, because she's producing Sophie Lennon, who's played by Jane. What's her name? The lesbian from the Glee. Jane. Tall, short blonde hair. Never mind. Nevertheless, they didn't know if she could be a dramatic actress, and like they do like a workshop of this play that's going to be on Broadway. And the scene opens, they open the door, and people come out, and they look like dazed. And then all of a sudden, the character Susie goes, "It's gonna work! Oh my God, it's gonna work! It's gonna work!" And she's turned to everyone, "It's gonna work!" And that's how I feel about this. It's gonna work.
It's gonna work. It's gonna all work out. I'll just hear back from the guy. I'll tell you about it on the phone later.
Okay. All right. Thank you all for like tuning in. Oh, we have another person who tuned in. Oh, we're at the end of it. So I'm sorry that you're just here, but you can watch the replay. And we will be here tomorrow morning again at 10/9 Central. So
He's gone.
Come hang with us, because it's gonna work.
Alrighty. I'll end it.
Oh my God, I was trying to end it. It's like, God damn it. It's like, I press end, and then it's like, are you sure you want to leave? And I'm like, God damn it, yeah. And then it's like, were we still live? Son of